Yeah, man. What a crazy weekend, bro. Man, I heard about that news. It was it was late on a Saturday afternoon. I was out with the boys, and next thing I know, I see everybody looking at their phone, and next thing you know, the news popped up. Man, that shit was crazy, bro. What you think? What you
Bro,
think when you first heard it? Like, that shit was wild.
like I was telling you, bro, I thought it was fake. I seen the tweet on my phone from Adam Schefter. I was like, hold on, Adam Schefter don't put out bullshit now.
Yeah. It's like
It was that crazy. I hit one of my boys, Terry. He a Colts fan. I sent him that right away. Man, he was hurt. He was hurt, man. It was wild.
Those fans was shook. Like how they boo him off the field. That's kind of crazy how they did that to him. I understand that as a fan. If Phillip Rivers would have did that, like say when we lost to the Patriots in 2007, he would have just said, all right, I'm done with it. I'm retiring. Like a month before the season, I probably would have been on that same wave. But I mean, we know what Andrew Luck been through. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think it sucked that he got booed, but you also got to think it was in the moment. Like, just like we didn't know that was coming, everybody in the crowd, like, could you imagine if your franchise quarterback, the season starts in a week or so, and all of a sudden he's just retiring? Like, I think it was just everybody was in that moment, and in that moment, like, to hear that he's just retiring just like that, and how it's coming from, obviously, until the press conference afterwards. I get it. I get why he got booed initially. I understand that.
Shit, that shit is wild, man. But welcome everybody to another episode of Here's the Deal. Got a lot of crazy NFL news, as everybody knows. What we're talking about right now is the Andrew Luck news. He announced that he's going to be retiring from the NFL. Only played 7 seasons in the league, but he was hurt one of those seasons, so technically about 6 total seasons. And man, news is just wild. Obviously, welcome to another episode. Another episode of Here's the Deal, where we give you best hot takes, the best things in sports, start debates, break down the game, and give y'all in-depth, look at the game and things like that. But yeah, man, about this Andrew Luck news, why do you think he decided to retire? Like, what goes into that process? Like, to just pass up on millions of dollars like that? What do you think a player thinks about when he does that?
Well, in his case, he's probably thinking about that lacerated kidney he got playing in these games, concussions, since 2015, this dude has torn cartilage in 2 ribs, torn his abdomen. Like I said, lacerated kidney, concussion, he tore his labrum, then he had the whole calf issue. So, I mean, it's so much money and it's such an opportunity, but at the same time, being at 29 years old, who knows what plans he has going forward. You want to be able to walk, you want to be able to think, and
Right.
Football is a dangerous game, man. It's a dangerous game, even though they're trying to make it safer each year, protecting the quarterback. You can get hurt. I mean, look at all the injuries that's happened to people from non-contact. Remember Teddy Bridgewater? What, he tear his ACL a couple years ago? Non-contact. I remember when Jordy Nelson tore his ACL. Non-contact. It's just so much that can happen.
Yeah, you put yourself at risk out there. Like, no matter what you're doing, just that high impact, whatever you're doing, whether you running full speed, like, there's no telling, you could pop your Achilles at any moment. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, exactly. So even and then for a guy like Andrew Luck, who's playing the quarterback position, even though it's the most protected position, they're open to some of the biggest hits. They get the most, like, they try to cut them out, but the blind sides, the big hits, you know what I mean? So especially when they're in the process of throwing the ball, they're opening themselves wide up. And like I was saying earlier, dude, if I got hit and I got a lacerated kidney that left him peeing blood, if I woke up in the morning and I was peeing blood, that would have been it for me right then.
you would have called it.
Gone.
Hey, but filed them papers. I mean, when I first heard the news, I was talking. First of all, I was just in shock because I was celebrating on my boy's birthday. Shout out LJ. But like, I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. At first, I was like, it makes sense because I mean, the man, he's been sacked 171 times, like, in about 6 seasons of play. So Like that's a ridiculous amount. And then the way he does play kind of an aggressive style. So I mean, he does deserve, I guess if you want to say some blame in the fact that he does have a little bit of this injury history because he's not sliding when he gets outside the pocket. He trying to run over linebackers and safety. So he does deserve a little bit of blame in it. But the Colts got to take care of their assets. Like that's what happens when you don't take care of the centerpiece of your franchise, the face of your franchise. He's gonna end up, having these types of thoughts as these injuries just could keep piling on. You already ran down the whole list of them, and he's had a lot of minor injuries in between there. Throughout this offseason, he had a minor injury that turned into a major injury. So when that happens, and a guy like Andrew Luck, he went to Stanford. Like he's not the type of guy that's just going to be like, okay, all I got is football. Like he knows, I believe he's some type of engineering. He has an engineering degree. Like he has other things that he wants to do, and I mean he's always talked about those things, even throughout press conferences, even though he loves the game of football. We all know that. But when your body says you can't do it anymore, it just gets to a certain point. And I think that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, definitely. Your body tells you enough, and it's mental. And he talked about that in the press conference. Like every time you get hurt, that's a whole nother rehab process that you have to go to just to get back, hopefully, where you were before. I mean, look. We not even professional athletes. I went and hooped this weekend for the first time in a long time. I'm still hurting today. I don't feel like hooping no more. So I know, when a guy who's been out there is trying to lead a team like the Colts to a championship keeps getting knocked out of games, and he's played hurt. He's played hurt in a lot of these games and been putting it all out on the line. Man, it's just hard. Like, yes, I get your point too. There was ways he probably could have protected himself more. Maybe he should have slid more. But I agree with you in the sense too that the Colts should have protected him more. I think they should have made more of an effort to bolster that offensive line. They wanted to immediately, after Peyton Manning got out of there, they tried to still keep it going. It wasn't really a rebuild. You know what I'm saying? They went out and they got Joseph Adai and they got some receivers and they tried to make the Colts still competitive right away, and they didn't build it right around him. So your quarterback's coming in, he's taking all these hits, and now look where we're at. He's 29 years old, giving up almost $140 million because he's just tired of doing all the rehab and getting hurt. So, I mean, I don't blame him. Like he said in one of his quotes from the press conference, he said, "I'm in pain. I'm still in pain. It's been 4 years of this pain rehab cycle." It's tough, man. It's tough to handle that, but at the same time, I think he's kind of fortunate in a way, and it's weird to say that he's fortunate, but he's earned more than $97 million, since he's been in the league. He's well paid, and imagine if this was 20 years ago, he wouldn't seen this type of money.
Yeah, he would have had like 10 million.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I was looking through some NBA contracts out of there. I think Magic Johnson made like $20 million in the NBA. Like shit is crazy.
Yeah. Like compare that to like now, people getting paid that's per year. That's what they getting.
Yeah, so like the way sports and the way their income has changed is definitely, I mean, it's beneficial to the players, obviously, and that's why you do have to pay your respects just in general to the generation before you, because they did lay the foundation for him to be able to walk away from the game so early. Like if he wasn't making that type of money, maybe he would stick around and be like, I got to make a couple more millions before I do walk away. And I mean, you don't want anybody out there that doesn't want to be out there, because I mean, Andrew Luck, he's a phenomenal player. Even last year, he threw, I believe, for 40 plus touchdowns, only second to Patrick Mahomes. So I think we all know he still has talent. He can still play, but if he's not built for it, I mean, hey, go ahead, take a seat. I don't want to call out anybody's name, especially this guy, but I mean, I know you saw the tweet on Twitter where, the guy he saw out there talking about, it's this new generation of, the rehab's too hard and I don't want to play anymore. And that's just clown shit, man. Like,
yeah, that was Doug Gottlieb.
Like, I didn't even want to say his name, man. Like, that's just that's why I don't keep up with Sports Center and Fox and all that, because they just do so much clown stuff. I think it's just for ratings and just to get attention. And like that's not that you can't be serious, especially, I mean, I don't want to get into his background and everything, but he's actually played a little bit in professional sports and things like that. So he should understand it, at least from like when your body breaks down on you and you can't do it anymore. And from a mental aspect as well. I mean, like if he's putting that out there to the fans, what are they gonna say about him?
Yeah, and then even looking at it from what Gottlieb's position, like, and look, I'll even say that basketball is my favorite sport, but football is a whole nother type of physicality. Where does Doug even get off trying to tell someone else what kind of pain they're? Oh, you can't fight through the rehab. Has he ever had a lacerated kidney? Like, what have you been? How do you know you can't tell another man how he should feel in his shoes, how his body is? Like, that's just something you can't do. That was a stupid ass tweet. I don't know why he sent that. Everybody's been getting on him lately for that shit. I don't know what he was thinking with that. But yeah, I mean, football is a different monster altogether. And, you know, I would never poo-poo basketball because that's my favorite sport, like I said. But I'm well aware of the physicality difference. Like, it's not even comparable compared to, you know, NBA to NFL. The type of hits they take, the type of damage, the type of, you know, work they put their body. There's a reason the season is only 16 games and they're still trying to shorten it. Like, they're still trying to think of ways, how can we protect these players? They're still trying to think of ways of trying to somehow get rid of the preseason. How do we commit less injuries? So, yeah, man, I don't know what he was thinking with that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully this doesn't become a trend. I mean, like you kind of alluded to, which, I mean, was a great point. The Colts kind of just came in and they built their team just thinking that, you know, they could pop in another elite quarterback because Peyton left them. And they willingly let Peyton go because, I mean, they saw Andrew Luck. I mean, he's a great talent in college, and we all knew that he was going to be great in the NFL, but you do have to build your team to be able to protect that asset. Like, I hope this doesn't happen to somebody like Kyler Murray coming into the situation, or like kind of what we see with Russell Wilson. He's always out there running for his life, and now they're finally trying to build an offensive line around him. So, I mean, luckily they were able to, you know, make it this couple Super Bowls and win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, there are a couple of cases where it does work. And I mean, Russell Wilson's just a different type of guy. Like, when it comes to, you know, scrambling and just keeping his body, you know, together to make it through a whole entire football season. But I mean, I hope franchises take note of this and, you know, really think about how they're building their team. And I just think, okay, let's just get a quarterback, because we saw it with David Carr. He got sacked a million times. And I mean, we kind of see it with his brother, David Carr. It's starting to happen to him a little bit more. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson as well. It's just around the league. You got to start taking care of your quarterback. And that has to be a necessity for some of these teams instead of always going for the flashy receiver or, you know, just the star type of players. You do have, it starts in the trenches. If you know football, it really starts in the trenches. Like, it starts with that offensive line working as a unit and keeping your quarterback upright if you really, really, really want to make some noise in this league. But, man, it's rough. But let's go ahead and go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, and this will probably open up the eyes. Like you said, you bring up younger quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. This will definitely open up the eyes. Russell Wilson, I mean, I think we were talking last week, and I think last year he was the most sacked quarterback in the league. And it's like, yo, you want to pay this guy all this money? I got it. Yeah. But if you keep letting him getting sacked at this rate, how long is he going to play? You know what I'm saying? You want to at least look. Tom Brady is 40, right? Yeah, Drew Brees is almost in his 40s. Aaron Rodgers is 35, 36, somewhere around that range. That's how long with the way they're setting up the rules, that's how long these quarterbacks should really be playing. But if you don't make it a point to protect your quarterback, what's that telling other teams? You know what I'm saying? What's that telling other players when they come to your team? So, yeah, it's definitely wild.
Yeah, you're going to start seeing some people, you know, just be like, all right, I'm not going to play for you. I mean, you have to be in the right situation, you know, family-wise and things like that. But, I mean, certain players will do the, you know, I'm not going to play for you, trade me, or just don't draft me at all when they call them on the phone. Like, I don't care if I'm getting picked number one. I'm trying to go to a team that I know is going to set me up for the future. And I hate to bring up my Chargers, but that's somewhat what Eli did, even though I don't think it was justified in that. But I think, I mean, that type of thinking and him coming from that Manning background, he is a player. He's a player in position that had power coming into the league and knew what would be best for, you know, just, I mean, it worked out for his career, I guess you could say, but I mean, we'll never know completely switching them on teams. But I mean, just player empowerment. I think that has to be something that's brought into the forefront with these young guys coming out of college.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. But before we move on, just want to say, you know, good luck to Andrew Luck. He was definitely a great player while he was in the league. Good luck to whatever he pursues in the future. I hope he, gets healthy and whatever. I know he's going to be great, whatever he decides to do after this.
We'll hear about his name somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Somewhere we'll hear about his name, even whether it's behind the scenes or doing some type of, big experiment. Like I already said, he's a smart guy. Stanford, like he's an intellectual type of guy, so he'll definitely be doing something big. And like you said, definitely look forward to hearing from him. Prayers up. I hope he gets over that mental edge. That's really the biggest step now.
Yep.
But yeah, I never got to introduce get our plugs in. So before we get into our topic for the day, go ahead, follow me on Twitter @_King Cole, and that's with an X. Go ahead, Mike, get your plug in.
You can follow me on Twitter @Mike_White Jr. Again, that's Mike_White Jr.
All right, let's get it. All right, so today we're going to go over the NFC and the AFC South, give y'all a preview for this coming season, continuing the series. This is the third division that we'll be doing. Next week, we'll be doing the NFC and AFC East. Be on the lookout for that. But how you want to start it this week? Let's go ahead and start with the AFC, since we already talked about the Colts. Let's start off with the AFC South. So go ahead and start us off with your records, Michael.
All right, so for my AFC South, a lot's changed because Andrew Luck is gone. I had it one way, but now I had to kind of flip it and change it around. So this is how I got the AFC South coming out. So I got the Houston Texans coming in first in this division now. I got them at 11-5. With Andrew Luck gone from the Colts, I think it's Deshaun Watson time. I think he's going to build upon what he had last year, and I think the Texans are going to win the division. At second, I still have the Colts there because I'm a Brissett fan. Jacoby Brissett, what up, boy? I think he's going to move into that start quarterback position. I'm a big fan of Jacoby Brissett. I like what I've seen from him in past years, even though he hasn't played a whole lot. So I think he'll be good enough to get him second in the division. They probably won't win it. Rounding out that division, I got the Tennessee Titans coming in third. Never been a huge Mariota fan. Never really been a big fan of their team in general. I do like Derrick Henry at running back, but that's about it on their team. I'm not really sold on Titans. And rounding out the division, I got the Jaguars finishing at 4-12. Not sold on them. I don't think I think that flash in the pan we saw from their defense 2 years ago, that was about it. I think Jalen Ramsey's days are numbered. In Jacksonville, I think not because of Jalen
come
Ramsey.
to LA. Come to LA. He want to play with Derwin James. I be seeing him on Twitter. They want to play together.
Yeah, I mean, wherever he wants to go, I don't think his play will fall off. I just think this team as a whole is not very good, and I think they'll be last. So I got the Jaguars coming in at 4-12 for them.
You're wild. What were your records for the Texans and the Titans? Sorry. Titans and Colts, my fault.
The Titans and the Colts. So I got the Colts at 8-8. I got them finishing at 500, and then the Titans I got at 5-11.
5-11. Oh yeah. Wow! So yeah, the 5-11 and 4-12. Wow.
Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah. Hey, look, I was generous the last 2 weeks. I've been getting everybody 8-8 and up. Somebody got to be trash.
Right, yeah, got to be a couple teams.
Somebody got to be trash, bro.
All right, so what I had, the top team we agree on, a little bit different record though. The Texans, I got them at first place. I think they'll finish 9-7. So it just tells you how tight I think this division is. They'll be 9-7. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Miller did go down. I believe he's out for the season. So I mean that kind of hurts them at their running back position. And when you're trying to protect Deshaun Watson and keep him upright, you do need a running game behind him. So. They are asking for a lot from him, and I mean, Clowney could get traded any second now. I just don't know what's up with the Texans. I mean, I think they'll be good enough to make the playoffs. They have a good regular season coach. It's just haven't been able to pull it together in the playoffs. And I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is the truth, man. So I definitely believe in him and what they got going on. So I think they'll be first. Second, I got the Jags. They bring in Nick Foles. They got Tom Coughlin over there. Granted, he's not coaching, but I do like their coach. I can't think of his name right now, but over the last 2 years, he's been a pretty solid coach for them. Fournette, I love him as a running back. He just has to stay on the field. Obviously, got T.J. Yeldon and other guys there, but I think 8-8 is a good spot for this team. They've lost some of their defense, but I mean, you still got your key guys are there. You've lost a little bit at linebacker, but the key guys are there. So I think they're maybe it'll fight for a playoff spot 8-8. It'll be pretty close. Throughout the AFC. Third seed, I got the Titans. I think they'll be 7-9, and I may be selling them short, but there's something about the Titans where it's just I can't get myself to be like, okay, they're a playoff team, or okay, they're going to be the best team in this division. Even though I think they do have that potential. Mariota's a very great quarterback. Not very great, very good quarterback in this league, and within the red zone, like he's solid. He gets the job done, and I mean, he's definitely not gonna throw the game away for you. That's one thing about Mariota. Within the red zone, he's like least in picks since he's been in the league. So I mean, he's very efficient when it gets down within 20 yards. I think they do need some more playmakers around him. Obviously, Derrick Henry, he's been good for them. And I mean, they've had a good running game, and their defense surprisingly has been one of the top. I believe they were top 5 or top 10 last year. So I mean, their defense is there, but offensively, they just need to come up with maybe a new system around Mariota, and that'll help them take that next step and help me start believing in them. And then to round out this division with Andrew Luck, making that news, I probably would have had them first or second in this division, but with him going out, I like Jacoby, but I don't think he's built for a 16-game season. They're gonna have to change the whole entire playbook now, and it's just such short notice, and it's just a bad situation for them. And I had them finishing 4-12, and they got a lot of things they need to work out. I think their roster is pretty solid. They brought in a couple guys, but they got a lot of work to do, especially if they're going to build around Jacoby, or do they go somewhere else? Maybe they could have traded for Josh Rosen or something like that throughout the offseason. So it's just a lot of questions there. And I mean, maybe Jacoby can't hold it down and get them, 8-8, maybe 9-7, get maybe in the playoffs. But I don't believe it right now. So I got them at 4-12.
Yeah, I might have more faith in Jacoby than what he'll probably perform, but I mean, you add Devin Funchess, you got Spencer Ware, Justin Houston, the guy from Kansas City, they got Quentin Nelson. So I mean, they have pieces there. I don't know. I just feel like they'll figure it out somehow. Obviously, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll figure it out enough where they'll be a lot more competitive than you think without Andrew Luck.
Okay. So who you got for MVP of this division?
So MVP of this division, I already said his name once. I'm giving it to Deshaun Watson, man. The dude is electric. He can scramble. He can throw. He's a leader. I've liked everything I've seen from him since he came from Clemson, since he's been in Houston. So I think he's easily going to be the MVP of this division.
All right. So MVP, I mean, it definitely has to be off the Texans. I was teetering between Watson, Hopkins. So I mean, all them guys. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to pick, but I had to give it to the quarterback in this situation. Deshaun is kind of like a next level quarterback, especially when he is upright in the pocket.
Right.
He's allowed to, use his legs. Because, I mean, last year he was fighting throughout injuries the whole entire season, it felt like. So riding the buses to games and things like that. So if they can, keep him, healthy throughout the season, I think he's in for something what we kind of saw that freshman, rookie year, whatever you want to call it. And he'll go back to doing some of the things that we saw Patrick Mahomes do, just that electricity on the field, scrambling for 50-yard touchdowns, getting Hopkins, whatever he needs to do. Fuller, it seems like whenever he catches a pass, it's a touchdown. So, I mean, Watson is definitely, I think, the guy for this division.
Right, I agree.
So, best offense and best defense. Go ahead, give me both of those. What you got?
So, this one was actually tougher, man, because best offense, it's easy just to say. I'm gonna say the Texans still. It's still Deshaun Watson. You still have DeAndre Hopkins. I think they lost Lamar Miller to an ACL tear. Mm-hmm. I think that just happened recently, and I don't know who their backup running back is.
Probably Alfred Blue.
Yeah, Alfred Blue. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, but there's nobody else in this division as at the quarterback position and that number one wide receiver that I see better than those two. So I'm still going to give it to them losing their starting running back.
All right. And what would you have for defense?
And then so my best defense, the same team. I'm still giving it to the Texans. Okay. Now, I know you said the Titans, they were better at defense last year, I believe, and they did add Cameron Wake, and they added some people here and there, but J.J. Watt, healthy, Jadeveon Clowney, I like the Texans defense. I think they're gonna that's what makes it difficult to beat the Texans, because they have that defense, because they have those players right there. Now they do have a tough schedule this year. They face the Saints. They play y'all, who's the Chargers. If for those who don't know, they got the Chiefs. So it's gonna be tough. That their stats might not be there, but I think they have the right personnel to be the best defense in that division again.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, for offense, I'm in agreement with you. I did just check. They don't have Alfred Blue. He actually went to the Jaguars. So, stayed within the division, but went over to another team. So, I mean, I need to check who they do have a running back. But I do believe, regardless, out of these teams in this division, I'll have to go with the Texans. I just – it's hard to go against that quarterback and wide receiver combo they have. It's like, no matter what, I don't think the Jags or the Titans can really compete with that. I don't think Corey Davis is that great of a receiver yet. He could get there, but he hasn't shown me anything yet. So I have to go with the Texans.
So their running back they have behind Lamar Miller is Dante Foreman. But
okay.
Yeah, but it looks like he's out too. He has an out by his name. So their third string running back is Buddy House. So it looks like it's going to be a running back by committee this year for them.
Deshaun going to have to go for about 800 rushing yards, 4,000 passing yards.
It's going to have to be something like that.
It's gracious. Yeah. Asking that man a lot. But for defense in this division, I'm going to go with the Titans. Like I said, I do believe in their defense. They're coached by Mike Vrabel. You know what he did in New England. And, I mean, last year he kind of proved that he can coach a little bit. He can do this thing. So I do believe in their defense. They add Cameron Wake, another good pass rusher. And, I mean, just everybody in this defense they're pretty solid or pretty proven. You got Logan Ryan, you got Malcolm Butler. It seems like they got all the old Patriots. My friends like to joke around and say that they're the B League team of the Patriots. So I mean, they kind of have that type of blueprint going for their defense. And I mean, I do believe in the Titans. Their offense does have to pick it up, but defensively, I think they'll be probably top 10 again. But get into our breakout players for this division. Who are you looking forward to seeing? This division is kind of tricky to me. It wasn't a lot of players that I'm too familiar with or that I love to see too much. Everybody that's kind of there is, already there. So who do you have as the player you looking forward to see in the AFC South?
Well, the obvious pick, I guess, would be Deshaun Watson, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go with another black QB, and I already said his name. I'm going to go Jacoby Brissett. He's getting the reins handed over to him. Probably didn't think it was going to come like this in this fashion, and it's probably going to be some adjusting on the fly. But I mean, I like Jacoby Brissett. I liked him in New England. I think he's going to have a pretty decent year. So I'm eager to see him starting from week 1 on, just getting a full season up under his belt as the full-time starter. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Brissett. I'm ready to see what he's about.
Jacoby. Okay. I'm gonna go with Nick Foles in this division, man. Nick Foles. I'm excited to see what he can do for the Jazz. I want to see if he can do some of those things that he did with Philly. Like, it seems like some games he does elevate his play, and he can be a really good quarterback in this league. I mean, he's done it with, I believe, the Rams. He played with them formerly. So he's had success in other places. Just, when he went to the Eagles, he had to play 4 or 5 games and, get him a ring against, the GOAT. But I mean, I want to see what he can do for the Jazz. They kind of have a good system built around him. They have a running game. They need to get him a couple more weapons to throw to. I will say that. But their defense is there. If he can lead them to the playoffs, and I mean that, as much of a legacy as Nick Foles has, it kind of legitimizes his legacy if he can't lead this team to the playoffs. And I mean, they gave him a big contract, so if he doesn't deliver, it's like the Jags, the year or two that they did have, they're going to be going downhill from now on, kind of like you're predicting. You said they were going 4-12, which astonishing, just wild. But I want to see what Nick Foles can do for this team, and I hope he can get them, 8-8 is where I have them. If he can get them in the playoffs, that'd be great. But let's go ahead and get into the NFC South, man. So, NFC South, the NFC part of this division, I'm gonna start my records.
Okay.
I got the Saints. I think they'll be number 1 in this division. I think they'll be 11-5. Drew Brees, as long as he's there, Saints are gonna be 1 or 2 in this division. No really argument. They're definitely gonna make the playoffs. They should have been in the Super Bowl last year. Maybe with this new rule installed, they won't get cheated this time. So I definitely believe in the Saints. Alvin Kamara, he's the truth. Second place, I got the Falcons. I think they'll be 11-5 as well, but there'll be some type of division tiebreaker. And going throughout their schedules, I think the Saints will be number one. They'll be able to edge them out for that. But I do think the Falcons will bounce back this year. They'll be 11-5. I'm not the biggest Matt Ryan fan, but I believe they do have a good team around him and a very solid coach down there. For third place, I got Carolina. I got them at 8-8. I think they improved their roster, but it's hard for me to judge right now because Cam is like he's dealing with injuries 1 week. The next week he's playing in week 1, and it's kind of hard for me to keep up, actually. Like, it's kind of hard for me to say, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And he has such a history of, kind of having lingering injuries. Although, hey, he goes out there, he plays on the field. But last year, we kind of saw it messed up his accuracy. He's never been the most accurate quarterback. So when he has an injury like that, it's kind of hard to even play him out there because you're exposing him to so much. You're making him look like a bad quarterback when it's really the fact that he's dealing with either a shoulder injury or his ribs are hurting, something like that. It's just a lot of things go around with Cam, but I do believe their team is very good. They still got Luke Kuechly. They got Christian McCaffrey. So I think they got some solid pieces there, and I think they'll be 8-8 by season's end. For fourth in this division, it's obviously got to be Tampa Bay. As long as they got Jameis Winston down there, I'm not buying it. Like he's probably the biggest turnover machine in the league.
You don't believe he gonna eat them dubs this year?
They ain't eating no dubs this year. They ain't eating no dubs. They 3-13. That's what I got them. 3-13, and that was pushing it. Like I gave them the third one. I was like 2-14. Nah, they'll find a way to win that third game.
3-13.
3-13, man. Like I don't believe it. Who does Tampa Bay have? Who they add this year? I don't think they added anybody. Mike Evans, he's solid. He's solid. But
OJ Howard, Cameron Brate.
I'm not worried about that. They added RG3. Who else they add? Brashard. Nah, they ain't add nobody. Blaine Gabbert might be the starting quarterback by the end of the year.
If that happens, Jameis Winston might go ahead and start looking around the league. Where can I go next?
Oh yeah,
if Blaine Gabbert take your spot.
Unemployment is next for him. I hate to say it, but but yeah, this is a make or break year. I mean, Jameis has flashes in the pan where he can be good, but it's just turnovers. Like he fumbles the ball and he throws too many picks. And if you do that at the quarterback position, you're going to have a short career. So that's why I got Tampa Bay, 3-13.
All right. So this is not going to be really too much different. Our records are a little different, but the order is pretty much close. So I got the Saints winning the division. I got them at 12-4. Like you said, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. They've got it all. They got robbed last year. They're going to be motivated. They're going to come back. I don't like them losing Mark Ingram, but like I said, they still have Alvin Kamara. They picked up Latavius Murray. I like that pickup, so they're still going to win that division. I have them at 12-4. Coming in second, I got the Falcons at 10-6. Their defense was atrocious last year, but a lot of that was due to injury. I think they'll be a lot better. I'm a big fan of Vic Beasley. Matt Ryan, you got Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley.
Is Julio the best wide receiver in the league?
Is Julio the best wide receiver in the league?
Yeah. Who you got as number one wide receiver in the league right now?
Man, I feel like I'm gonna take him. I'll take Julio number one.
Say Julio.
Okay. Julio number one.
I'm going with D Hop. I got a top 10. I'm going with D Hop. Let me see. I got D Hop 1.
Okay.
Julio 2. Odell 3. AB 4. After AB, Michael Thomas. He got to be 5. After the year he just had.
I just feel like they don't be getting him the ball. Like no, Julio Jones.
Like, yeah. Matt Ryan definitely deserves some blame on that.
I don't know why they don't get this man the ball.
That's the real reason why he can't be number one on me. It's all on Matt Ryan. It's not like Julio can't score. Like last year, I believe Mohamed Sanu threw a touchdown to Julio, and he only had like 2 or 3 touchdowns last year. Like, why is Mohamed Sanu throwing touchdowns to Julio, but Matt Ryan can't?
Damn, I will never forget what Julio Jones did to my Packers in the playoffs a couple years ago. It was horrible. Like he was killing us, and I just be wondering, like, why don't they throw him the ball all year in the red zone? Like I just don't understand how a guy of this magnitude, this size, be having like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's Matt Ryan. Like it's not even. Because like we seen him, he's very capable. In the Super Bowl, we saw the catch that he made on the sidelines. That was like the last good play the Falcons had on offense. So like they just minimize those mistakes and like force him the ball. He's one of those players that you force the ball to. Like Calvin Johnson with the Lions, even though they kind of overdid it. But on this team, they have enough weapons where they can't triple team Julio. You may be able to put 2 on him, but you can't triple team him. So when you got Julio, you give him the ball. And I think Matt Ryan struggles in the red zone a little bit, and he kind of looks for every other option than Julio because he's drawing double teams at the line of scrimmage and things like that. So, I mean, there are other guys, but
Right.
it's just one of those situations where he should at least be scoring 8 touchdowns a season, something like that.
A minimum. But yeah, but I still, even though they don't seem to want to get him the ball, I still think he's the best receiver. But like I was saying, Falcons, I got them at 10-6 because they still have Julio. And even though Julio gets double a lot, Calvin Ridley be eating off that. Mm-hmm. So I like Calvin Ridley. I like Mohamed Sanu in the slot.
Roll Tide.
Devontae Freeman, he was hurt a lot last year, so I think he has a lot to prove this year, especially since they lost Tevin Coleman. But I still think they're going to finish 10-6. That offense always seems to get it done, and their defense can't get any worse than it was last year. And like I said, a lot was caused by injuries. I think they'll be a lot better this year. Third in this division, I got Carolina. I got them at 9-7. One game better than what you gave them at 8-8. Mm-hmm. With this Cam injury, I just don't know. Like you said, I still love their defense, though. I like everything about their defense. Luke Kuechly, I like everything about their defense. But Cam and his accuracy and these injuries, is it going to hold up? I like Christian McCaffrey, but I'm not a big fan of what they got on the outside. I mean, I like Greg Olsen, but it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see what Cam does. Like, Cam has each year, for me personally, has been moving down on the QB list as far as where he ranks to me. So right now, if you ask me where do I have Cam Newton on my quarterbacks list, he would have to be 10 to 15 range. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like 8 to 12, somewhere around there.
12. I mean, I'm okay with that. You can find a spot. Obviously, once you get around there, you can kind of mix and match. It's kind of preference. But I mean, he's just been slipping for me, and then he has to stay healthy, and that's a big thing. As we can see, he already got hurt in a preseason game. I'm hoping it's not too serious because he's one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. So I have them at 9-7. Considering I'm taking the fact that most people are healthy, I think they'll finish right around there. And then at the bottom, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I gave them a little bit better record, not much, 5-11. I don't see them doing much. They're gonna win some random crazy game on a Sunday afternoon, but I don't expect much from the Buccaneers. They got Jameis Winston, Mike Evans. Like I said, that's their bright spot on offense. I like O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, but that's about it. Defensively, I'm a Gerald McCoy fan, but I don't see this team getting many wins this year.
Okay. Who's your MVP for the division?
So my MVP for the division is Alvin Kamara.
Well, same over here. I'm rocking. We rocking.
Yeah, I got him as my MVP. Crazy great year last year, and I think the Saints, as we've seen, they're moving towards they're running more. No more will Drew Brees be throwing 56, 55, 50 times a game. That's done. They are a run team. I like the pickup of Murray, but I think Alvin Kamara, he is the engine that makes that offense go. And I think they're just like we was talking about when I was talking about my Packers during our NFC North preview. I think they're going to run the ball a lot and only want Drew Brees to only be special in spots. So I think Kamara is going to be the workhorse for that team. So he's my MVP.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with that. And he's going to be running the ball, but he also brings that dynamic of catching the ball as well. He's probably either if he's not the best receiving back, maybe second to Le'Veon or I'm trying to think who else is out there. Le'Veon or James White. Those are only two other guys that may be in his type of field of receiving the ball out the backfield. So I definitely chose Alvin Kamara as well. I think for best offense, we have an argument here, but I went with the Saints. I believe, as long as they got Drew Brees there, they're going to have a top 5 offense. No worse than top 7, and they have Sean Payton there, who's just an offensive guru. So I had them as the best offense going into this season. And best defense, I picked the Falcons. I believe in that Falcons defense. They're fast on defense. Like you already brought up Vic Beasley and a lot of other guys they have. I believe that Desmond Trufant's still there. So they have a lot of great guys out there, a lot of hard hitters. You got the Seahawks former defense or one of their former defensive coaches there. So they have the playbook and they have the players. So I like the Falcons on defense.
Yeah, for me, so for offense, I picked the same. I got the Saints. Obviously, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. You got Ted Ginn Jr., obviously. I didn't bring up this guy earlier. They picked up Jared Cook at tight end. I like Jared Cook. He can make plays down the field. He's a quick tight end. I wish Green Bay would have kept him. I like that
I may
pickup.
have to get him in fantasy. That's a sleeper
Yeah,
pick right there.
that's definitely a good pick. He gets a lot of yards. He's definitely a red zone threat. So
Drew Brees gonna make him eat. He gonna eat.
yeah, he's definitely gonna eat. So I like the Saints as the best offense. For defense, this just like offense, this division was kind of close for me picking defense because it's really pick your poison. Because with the Saints, you got Marshawn Lattimore at corner, you got Eli Apple at quarter, and you got Cameron Jordan on the Saints, and then the Falcons, like you already said, Vic Beasley Jr., Desmond Trufant on the outside. They also have Keanu Neal at safety, but I went with the team that's only going to go 9-7. I went with the Panthers. I'm a big fan of the Panthers defense. Like I said, if you got Luke Kuechly in the middle, if he's healthy, of course, if he's healthy, one of the best, if not the best middle linebacker in the game. Eric Reed at safety, Shaq Thompson. I like their linebacking core. And then you got Dontari Poe up on the front defensive tackle line. So I like the Panthers defense. I think that's going to keep them in a lot of games. I think as long as Cam stays healthy, that's going to carry them a lot of these games because they're going to be stopping the run a lot. I think they're going to be forcing a lot of turnovers.
All right. So player to watch. Who you got for your player throughout this division?
So my player to watch in this division is Cam Newton. If he's healthy, Cam Newton is an MVP candidate every single year. He's a threat to run. He's a threat to some days more than others. He's a threat to pass. I like Cam Newton. I was really excited to see him coming into this year. Christian McCaffrey's came into his own, so he definitely has something back there in the backfield that he can rely on. I don't know. I'm a big Cam fan. I'm hoping he's healthy, and I want to see him perform so I can move him up my damn quarterback list because he should not be outside of at least the top 8. But right now, 10 to 15, man. So I want to see what next step he takes. I've seen enough of Breeze. I'm good on that. Who else? Jameis Winston. Do we need to talk about that? No. So yeah, I want to see Cam Newton, man. I want to see him return to that MVP year type play.
All right, that's a good pick. My player to watch is Calvin Ridley. I really like what he did last year. He started off hot, but he pulled down. You got Roll Tide out there, Julio and Calvin Ridley. Alabama going strong still. So I think if he can become the second wide receiver, although he'll be playing in the slot. You'll have Sanu on the other outside, probably on the left or right side. But if he can become the second option for them in the passing game, I think that opens up so much for them. And I think they need a real strong second wide receiver. Like Sanu is cool, but I've never looked at him as a legit second receiver, especially when you have someone's opposite of Julio. Like when you have somebody opposite of Julio, you need somebody that has to like exactly what Calvin Ridley is, a speed threat down the field. So Julio, he can run down the field if he wants to, but he'll get all the underneath routes, comeback routes, anything. Like he'll be able to stretch the field so much for Julio. It's going to open so much for him, and maybe we will see him, score in the red zone. But if Calvin really could take that next step and just become that guy for them, I think it'll be so important for the Falcons, and they may actually make some noise throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, that was my toss-up. It was between Cam and Calvin Ridley. I actually still typed his name down. I'm a big fan of Calvin Ridley, too. Like I said, last year, he thrived off all those double teams that Julio Jones was getting. So, obviously, Matt Ryan don't like throwing to Julio Jones that much, so he got to throw to somebody else. I think Calvin Ridley's going to definitely build upon what he did last year.
Yeah, definitely so high on his stock last year. I got Keenan Allen out of that deal. Go ahead, won that championship with that one. But
I don't know.
But all right, guys, that wraps up another episode of Here's the Deal. Thank you guys for listening. Always, shout out to you guys. Continue to spread the word. I'm getting out these. Everybody waiting for fantasy football. I'm getting out the word. I'm gonna send out these emails by the end of. But you'll be hearing this on Tuesday. So I'll be getting out the email probably Tuesday morning. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we'll probably have the draft sometime next week. So if you're still interested, let me know and I may be able to still add you in. But all right, y'all. Peace. Y'all have a good one.